time to say goodbye. Shout to an empty room. Goodbye. You send no reply. It's time to say goodbye. I'm here if you change your mind. Goodbye. Till then I say goodbye.
That's it.
Cool.
Hello, everybody. I have a song to share with you. Sometimes when life gives us hops, it's good to do your best and try to, make some beer. I had sort of a rough couple of friends that both of them at different times over the last 6 months decided they never wanted to talk to me anymore. And both of them, at one point or another in my life, I had considered my best friend. So it was kind of very hard. So I felt like I needed to heal this. I'm trying to go along with this trend of shorter songs, especially since TikTok became just such a humongous thing. Like, I feel like the direction of songwriting is kind of trying to get a little bit more concise. And so I was really trying to keep the length of this really short. It's literally just one take of an acoustic guitar and 4 vocal takes. I use at least parts of all of them. So without further ado, I share my new song, Goodbye.
It's time to say goodbye. 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 It's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. It's time to say goodbye. I never wanted our friendship to end. It's time to say goodbye. I wish I could take back the messages I sent. It's time to say goodbye. 'Cause I made a mistake. Goodbye. I deeply regret. It's time to say goodbye. Try to apologize, forgive and forget. It's time to say goodbye. Shout to an empty room. Goodbye. You send no reply. It's time to say goodbye. I'm here if you change your mind. Goodbye. Till then I say goodbye. I tried to be a good friend, the best friend that I can. I admit I could have been there more. Nobody's perfect. I tried to make amends for the pain I caused you. My hands are tied, what can I do? It's time to say goodbye. 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 It's time to say goodbye. 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 It's time to say goodbye. I never wanted our friendship to end. It's time to say goodbye. I wish I could take back the messages I sent. It's time to say goodbye. 'Cause I made a mistake. Goodbye. I deeply regret. It's time to say goodbye. Try to apologize, forgive and forget. It's time to say goodbye. Shout to an empty room. Goodbye. You send no reply. It's time to say goodbye. I'm here if you change your mind. Goodbye. Till then I say goodbye.
That's it.
Cool. Comments?
I hate to make a point without a solution, but shouting to an empty room, I don't know why that was a bump in the road for me. Because you're talking about sending messages and electronically, I take it. So that's my first brushstroke.
Okay. Elaine is asking if we can see the lyrics up while we're commenting.
I actually really liked that line, Ron.
Did you?
And I think because I have a couple of similarly broken relationships that feel like that, where I'm trying to say, what's the matter? What's the matter? And I'm not getting any response. You know what I mean? So it feels like I'm shouting into an empty room. So I I mean, I felt it, and I thought it was a good line, for what it's worth.
What I was going to say is that I'm not quite sure why, but the chord progression and the way you constructed the "it's time to say goodbye, goodbye, goodbye" reminded me in a nice way of the Beatles.
Yeah, I actually like that a lot.
Yeah. And I like how you have the goodbye going on through while you're singing the other stuff with it. That's really worked well.
Yeah, I have a couple comments for you, Matthew. I really like the song, actually. I think it's got a great, it has that sort of, okay, I'm ready to move on, but yet you've got the anger there too. It's interesting how it's a mix of both emotions of, it's time to say goodbye, but yet you can feel the anger too, which is, I think, really well done on your part, and the vocals bring that across really well. And I agree with Jeff in that it does have a little bit of a Beatles kind of style in the chorus, which I think is great. That's definitely a good thing. The only suggestions I know you were trying to make it really short, but it seems like, and again, I'm not looking at lyrics, obviously just listening. It sounds like you have a chorus, a verse, and then a chorus. It seems like it would be nice if it had one more verse just to give it another, setup as to what happened. I don't know. Maybe you want to say something more. And then maybe I'm just hearing it that way, but it sounded like the chorus was fairly long and the verse was fairly short, which is fine, but it seemed like there was only the one verse. Does that make sense? Or am I hearing it, did you structure it differently? I heard it as chorus, verse, chorus with the time.
We're ABA. It's kind of like, I want it to be a chorus because I want it to be I want people to sing along. But
Yeah.
like I said, I'm really going for that trend of short song, and I want the majority of the song to be that chorus. And you
Chorus.
you guys that know me know I'm a composer. My lyric writing is adequate at best. And so by only having one verse, I'm just making my life so much easier. And honest to goodness, if I was going to add anything, it would be a saxophone solo. It would not be more lyrics, because that would just be and I was also trying to keep it general to where it could apply to a lot of different situations too.
Right.
Really, it's just about getting you singing along. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. I was sort of kind of almost a little bit inspired by that na 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 hey goodbye. Almost.
All right, you said nobody's perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you speak that line. I would like to hear that again at the end of the verse before you go into goodbye, goodbye, because I don't remember exactly what the last line of that verse was, but it seemed like it would fit to do that. Nobody's perfect once again, and then it's time to say goodbye, kind of thing. Because you were trying to make amends and trying to show that you recognize that you're fallible and this, that kind of thing. That was just one of the comments I had. One of the other comments I had was that there seemed like in the chorus part, there's some lyrics where you don't need as many words. Something about, to tell the truth or something. What's that line can you read me your words in the chorus? Obviously not the goodbye part, the other part.
The truth is, I made a mistake I deeply regret.
Okay, the truth is, right? I think you could even just say, I made a mistake I deeply regret. You don't have to say the truth is, right? Because it seemed like there was a little, you've already got it's time to say goodbye. Truth is, I made it. You're trying to get too many words in there to fit in. Does that make sense? You could make it a little bit less wordy on the parts that are not the it's time to say goodbye going on in the background. Truth is, I made a mistake.
I tried to apologize, forgive, and forget.
I tried to apologize, forgive, and forget. Is that all you?
I've tried to apologize, forgive, and forget.
Yeah, and that's not. You could just say tried to apologize, tried to forgive and forget. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. But it was just an economizing on some of the words. There is all I was thinking about.
Syllable here or there too. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, you'd have to think about it if it would fit or not. But I really like the feel of the song. I think you did a good job with it. So But those were a couple comments that I had. I don't know. I'll go ahead and mute and throw it out
Elaine
to somebody else.
wrote some stuff. She says, I don't know if you're looking at chat, but I'll read it. She says she likes it too. I tried to make amends. Sounds like the narrator knows how he hurt the other person. I too want it to be longer. And she agrees with about deleting the truth. And I was going to say, I think I'm okay. I'm okay with both the line that Ron was talking about. I understood that too, that feeling of shouting at an empty room. And also I'm okay with it being the one verse with the two choruses, because like you said, if you actually wanted it to be any longer, if you wanted to do a second version that's not for TikTok or something like that, or if you had some reason to, you could easily add a sax solo or some other kind of solo, and
I was going to suggest that
very nicely.
Why not have a longer version sitting around?
You
When
could
I
have
produce
both
it, I'm going to put a
versions,
horn
yeah.
section with it. I just, for this, I try to keep the clay really wet. I had two
Right.
things I wanted to bring out to you guys compositionally. Obviously, I'm starting my melody on the dominant, and I just absolutely refused to use the dominant chord in this song because it just didn't feel right. It didn't sound right. And so that's why I'm leading in with that C major 7. It just gives so much more of I really don't want it to be like this feeling right off the bat. Rather than if I started with like say a B or a B7 or whatever, it's just gonna be like, okay, I'm sure about this. It's more like F you instead of it's more like why are you saying F me is really kind of where I'm going with it. So I was trying to make it, where hey, I'm willing to admit my part, but you're just done. Right. And so that's kind of where I was going with that. And then the other thing was I didn't use any minor chords at all. I used all major chords to try to give it that like 70s rock feel. I don't know, AC/DC, maybe the Beatles, but like I just, as I was going through the melody and harmonizing it, anytime I hit a minor chord in this song, it just felt wrong. I don't know how to explain it. So it gives it that rock attitude where it's like the words are kind of negative, slightly bittersweet, whatever. And then the music is sort of kind of having this sort of positive, feel good sort of attitude that doesn't really necessarily mismatch, except for that lead into the chorus or A section or whatever you want to call it. So I did one sort of mini critique before this, but I didn't change the song. And the other two people suggested maybe if I don't want to make it longer, to make that little middle section a little longer, to maybe take like the 2 bars of the 4 bars in between that are I'm just hitting the E chord for time, and maybe stretch out that C major 7th a little bit and give like maybe one more line in the B section just to kind of like beef it up a little bit more, to beef up a little bit different, a little bit more of making you wait just a little bit longer, literally just 2 bars, to go back to it's time to say goodbye.
Mhm.
I don't know. I was thinking about taking that suggestion.
I think your chord choices, both the C7 to the E and keeping it all major, works really nicely for this song because it doesn't feel like it has closure. It keeps us a little off balance, which is absolutely right there with the words. So it was good choices that you made on that, I think.
Yeah, and that chorus is a real earworm.
It is. It's still going.
Which is good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And I agree with Jeff. I think the chord choices were good. I think that worked out really nicely for it. So.
It's a good song, Matthew. It's nice work. Really nice work.
Yes, I think so too. So I'll tell you mine briefly because it touches on everybody's, so it's not going to take me long. I'll just tell you in order of how I felt it and how I thought it. So the very first thing within a few seconds, I said, "Oh, sounds like the Beatles," which you've heard that comment, but I mean, I got it immediately. upon hearing it. But then it kind of changed after it went into like the verse. Anyway, the goodbye, I like the number of repetitions. You know, a lot of times you can't pull that off, but I think because of the chord progression, it works really well. And so I liked that. I agree with the chord progression. I thought that matched really well with the feeling of the song. I liked the tempo. I think that was perfect also. And when you go to do your final mix, I would only say that after you do the goodbye in the beginning, and then you do the goodbye when it's accompanied by other lyrics, turn the goodbye part just a little bit lower when you do your final. That would be my recommendation to you. I like it there, but I'd like the other lyrics to stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, I had noticed that and forgot to say anything about that. Yeah, there was a couple of places where the lyrics that you're saying over the goodbye get lost. And if I hadn't been looking at the words, I wouldn't have known what you said, which, you know, that may be a choice you want to make. But obviously, if you want those words to be understood, it doesn't need to come down a lot. It's just they're in a similar pitch range, so they're kind of melding in a way that is masking what you're actually saying. But overall, good song. Well done.
Good point, Jeff. One thing to go off what Jeff just said, you could take the goodbye part where they're both, you know, both lyrics are together at the same time, and then just change the EQ of it so that the pitches, like, get rid of the, like, the 1.5 to the 2.5, you know, kilohertz. And if you at least maybe not totally get rid of it, but kind of gut it out, you'll easily hear, or you could side chain it a little. No, that'd probably cut it off, but I would kind of gut that 1.5 to 2.5 out, and I think that'll clear it up.
In the goodbyes, or
yes,
okay,
yeah, just the part where they're overlap, so that you can hear and understand the lyrics being sung. You know, and you'd have the same volume, but you're not going to have the crashing lyrics that kind of blend together.
Good idea.
And your comment about Matt about the adding a couple of measures, that I think that would be fine. Be interesting to see how it changes the feel of it right there.
Yeah,
Anyone else?
It's not for TikTok. I don't even have a TikTok. It's just more like, I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like as the internet and all this remote stuff, everybody's on their phone more and more and more and more. I mean, you know, everybody's on their phone more, even me. Right? And I'm being honest. You guys remember I was the last of the Mohicans to get a smartphone, right? Everybody's on their phone more and more. Our attention spans are getting shorter. And so I would rather you listen to the whole song and you're like, okay, I wish that was longer. I want more, rather than, you know, you're 2 minutes in and you turn it off. And so I'm literally going for that. If you're saying, "Oh, I want more," that's like yes, success. So what I need to do now is just dress it up a little bit, maybe tweak the words, delete a couple syllables, move a couple measures around. But then I'm thinking having the horns, right? It's time to say goodbye. Pow pow. Goodbye. Pow pow. Goodbye. Pow pow. Pow. It's time to say goodbye. I got the arrangement in my head, but you guys know me. I'm not the greatest with the lyrics, and so if I like recorded all that stuff and then you guys are telling me to move measures around, I'm gonna be heartbroken. I'll be like, I spent 12 hours on this song. So I literally spent like 1 hour, including making the video with the lyric sheet and all that, because I didn't want to feel that. I wanted to be like, yes, I could totally change anything.
Well, you did a very good job, Matt. And
cool.
You know, I can understand, yes, an awful lot of, you know, the streaming services and stuff, the songs shorter and shorter and shorter, and this would catch people's attention. It takes them there, and then it disappears. And it's like, I want to hear that again, you know. So, good points. I only mentioned TikTok. I knew when I said it, that wasn't actually what you were going for. You were going for a more general thing with the streaming that the songs have gotten shorter. So anyone
Yeah,
else?
and different versions of songs, like, like if I have my live version, right?
Right.
It's gonna be longer because I'm gonna be soloing and playing all kinds of saxophone and goofing off, and maybe throw in some vocal riffing too. If it's live, I could take a 2-minute song and do it for 10-15 minutes with a beat like that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
cool if people are into it, but then how are you gonna get people into it, right? It's
Right.
almost like a bait and switch almost. You have to kind of like really hook them on the idea, get them wanting more, and then you can deliver more, and hopefully then they'll be ready for it, if that makes any sense at all.
Yes. Any other parting comments? All right.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you, Matt.
everybody, for allowing me to share my song, and thank you for your wonderful comments.